Welcome back, Ink Chasers, and happy All-Star Week. Since it is the All-Star break and there's only the game and the Home Run Derby this week, I thought I would give you guys an alternative. And this video is going to be my top 10 baseball movies of all time. And before we get right into the list, there are a few that I did not include, and that definitely need to be brought up. So I will bring up those first. If you have not seen this, you should see this. This is probably the number one baseball related documentary. And that's the only reason I didn't include this on the list, is because it's a documentary, not a movie. And that's Ken Burns' Baseball. This is, I got this set. This is the complete 9 innings plus the 10th inning that ranges from 1840 to 2009. It'd be nice for them to go ahead and put out the next, I know these are usually in 10-year increments or thereabout. So it'd be nice to get the 11th inning. But if you have not seen this, this is a must. You have to see this. Funny story is, my wife joked saying that I had to read all the Harry Potter books before she would marry me. And I told her she had to watch this before I would marry her. I got through 6. I was in the middle of the 7th Harry Potter book whenever we did get married. And she did watch this, but it was definitely after we got married, so I didn't hold her to it. But this is one that she knows kind of about baseball, but didn't know a lot. She watched this, and now she's a baseball fan. So if you have not seen Ken Burns' Baseball, you should watch it. Alright. The next one that didn't make the list for the same reason is it's not a documentary, but this is more of a series. This was on, I believe it was on ESPN. Yeah, ESPN. It's called The Bronx is Burning. Very good. It's about the I believe it's 77 season for the New York Yankees. This has got actors playing the parts. It also has clips of actual game footage, as well as things that are going on in the during the time, as far as the blackouts, the Son of Sam, all kinds of great great shots in here. It's a good story. What's his name? Oliver Platt plays an amazing George Steinbrenner, and John Turturro plays Billy Martin, which is, he's great. So this is another one I highly recommend checking out. The Bronx is Burning. And then I'm going to group these all together as one because, again, they're not a movie, and they're not really I guess it's a series that came on, let's see, looks like 1959. That's whenever it was done, but it's the Home Run Derby. And I remember watching these as a syndication or like a rerun or whatever. It's just, basically it's Home Run Derby. You get two greats where I think the very first one starts off Mickey Mantle versus Willie Mays. They play 9 innings if it's the home run or an out. And then they win prize money. It's not a lot of money to nowadays standards, but yeah, it's great. And then the person who wins comes back the next week. They go on to somebody else. There's Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Ernie Banks, Harmon Killebrew, Clint Boyer, Ken Boyer, Hank Aaron. I mean, tons of Hall of Famers. Definitely a great buy. I think I picked these up on eBay for like $10 to $15 for the whole set. So it's great to pass your time. You all know the story, 42. This one is a great movie. It is not in my top 10, and for the main reason is, yes, it's for the times, but for the language. I think out of the movies here, this is probably the only one that I am not letting my kids watch right now. Once they get older and understand, yes, but some of the words that are said in this, I don't want them to go into school saying, and I'm sure you can understand. But Chadwick Boseman played an amazing Jackie Robinson, and Harrison Ford was amazing as Branch Rickey. Um, Definitely one worth watching if you haven't seen it. And the last one that's not on my top 10 list that I really want to highly recommend, I don't have it on DVD, but it's called Chasing 3000. It's based on a true story of two boys who moved from Pittsburgh to California, and it was when Clemente was coming on his or coming up to 3000, and they basically ran away and made their way back to Pittsburgh so they can catch Clemente's 3000 hit. It's a really good story. Like I said, it's based on a true story, and it's definitely one you should check out. But now let's get on to my top 10 list. Now, of course, there's tons of great baseball movies out there, and it's hard to narrow it down to 10. Matter of fact, whenever I was making my list, I had was writing them all down, and I came up to like 40 movies really quick. So we'll start off with the first one, and Mike, Baseball Collector, I would consider this to be my chick flick, you asking your questions, but it is a baseball movie. It is For Love of the Game. And this particular one I've got signed by Kelly Preston and Kevin Costner, who are, both in the movie. For Detroit Tiger fans, this one is basically about them. It is a fictional story. Basically, he's contemplating if he's going to retire or not, and it takes over the span of a game. I don't want to give away too much in it, but it's definitely a good movie. It is one to curl up on the couch with your lady friend, or it is considered, I would consider it a chick flick. So that is my chick flick movie that I've watched. Number 9 on the list, the original Bad News Bears. It's a great movie. They did make the sequel, and they did make a remake of it, but the original is the best. Again, now that I think of it, this is another one that my kids have not watched for the same reason, language. But great story, great actor of Walter Matthau, and a lot of the kids, I think most of them didn't even do a whole lot of acting after this. But number 9, another great movie. Now, number 8, this one I think really belongs higher on the list, but it's with as many movies as there are and great movies, highest I can give it right now is number 8, and that's Bingo Long's Traveling All-Star Motor Kings. That's it. If you have not seen this, and I know there's a lot of people out there who have, but there's even more who have not, because it's not a well-known movie, it's definitely one you should watch. It's got, as you can see here on the cover, James Earl Jones, Billy D. Williams, and Richard Pryor. It's hilarious. It's about it is a fictional story, but it's loosely based on things that actually happened, as far as like back in the era, there, the Negro Leagues went along and couldn't necessarily get games going on, so they would barnstorm, and they would go from town to town trying to play pickup games and make extra money. And their team was all-stars. It was guys from all the different teams, and it was kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. So it's definitely a good movie. It's a funny movie and great acting in it. And you should definitely, sorry about the glare on that. You should definitely check this one out. It's a must see. All right, and where are we at? Number 7 on the list. Everybody's favorite, The Sandlot. And this one I got signed by Squints this year, last month. So you can see that recap on my channel here. But if everybody knows Sandlot, so I'm not going to go over too much on it. Just it's a great movie. The reason it's not higher is it's yes, it's about a baseball, but not about baseball. So it knocks it down a little bit on my list. I did have started off a lot higher, and when I started thinking about what made great baseball movies, it slowly went down. So that one was sitting at number 7. So number 6 is 8 Men Out. This one here is a great movie, great story. Well, great as far as it's historically accurate or pretty close to it. As any movie can be. About the 1919 Black Sox scandal, where the White Sox were paid to take a dive. Great movie, ton of good actors in it. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but if you haven't, it's another must see, and you'll hear that a lot because we're in the top 10. But this one is higher because it is based on true events and true happenings, and it's a really good movie. So here's another one you should watch. And now we're at top 5, and going off my list, you probably already know the top 5, just not necessarily the order. And number 5, Bull Duram. Yeah, here's another Kevin Costner movie. Kevin Costner likes to get his baseball movies, and whenever he does, they're good. But here, this one is an amazing movie. I'm sure you've all seen it, but I got this one here at number 5. It's a little bit lower because, again, it's not true. It is, about the Durham Bulls, which is a good real team. But this one's about baseball and has a lot of baseball stuff in it, so it's higher up on the list. And number 4, A League of Their Own. This is a great movie. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's about true events. Now the players aren't necessarily, and the actual story is a story. It's not a real based on true events. The only thing, although that it is about the women playing is true. It's just it's kind of like Titanic. Yes, it really happened, but these particular characters were made up. And this one really hits home. This is one of my great favorites. I've got my own personal collection of the All-American Girls Pro Baseball League. You can see that in my in one of my collection playlist. But this one it's a great movie. Definitely a must-see. And at number 3, Major League. And this one here I've got signed by Rene Russo and Bob Uecker. I'll get that there. And I'm sure you've all seen Major League, but this one's a great baseball story, great messages, great acting, hilarious. The sequels 2 and 3 are funny as well. Of course, not as great as the first one, but they're good as well. Yeah, it's a definitely must-see movie. You should definitely see that one. Now, my number 2, this one was hard, number 1 and 2, but I went with The Natural, because, well, it's great. I mean, I'm considering it the second best baseball movie of all time. Robert Redford, he's great. He the movie itself is a really good movie. It is actually based on a true events. Now I believe the names and places and teams, things like that, because actually the team itself is made up for this movie. But this it is based on a true story. So this one, and anytime I go to the Ranger game and they hit a home run, they got the Natural music. So again, great movie. And if you haven't guessed it by now, my number one baseball movie of all times is Field of Dreams. This one I've got Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones, and Dwyer Brown. And really, if you build it, he will come. This is based off of a book that the title character, Ray Kinsella, that's the name of the author. Actually, I think it was may have been, yeah, Ray. I think his name was Ray, but anyway, it was Kinsella. But the book that this is based off of is called Shoeless Joe, and it is a very good book as well. Maybe let me know down below if you want to hear a book review about it, because I've read it multiple times, and the movie itself is amazing, and it's definitely one you have to see if you haven't, which I'm sure if you're seeing this and in the community, you've seen this movie. Basically, a farmer decides to build a baseball field in his crops because he had a vision of if you build it, he will come. Build a baseball field. So he plowed it up and built it, and he came. You have to see it. Great movie. And that's my top 10 movie. I will actually post my top 25 down in the description. So if you want to see 11 through 25, you can see the whole list. It does exclude, like I said, it's just movies. It excludes documentaries, because there's also, if you haven't seen, there's No, a documentary. It's about Doc Ellis and his no-hitter where he pitched the whole game on LSD, and that one is an amazing documentary. You should definitely check that one out. But again, it's not on the list because it's a documentary, not a movie. Maybe I'll do another one of just documentaries and series that I like. But let me know what you think. What's your top 10? Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.